how do you suggest we set ourselves up to have a successful financial future? And I know what you kind of talked about just now kind of went into some of that, but going a little more a little deeper on how do we set ourselves up, whether we're an entrepreneur, whether we're W-2 employee, how do we set ourselves up for a successful financial future?
I'm making faces because I'm trying to figure out what piece to give you.
And you give a couple pieces,
I think the pipeline comment applies to anyone who needs to earn money. Okay.
Whether it be an W-2
entrepreneur, doesn't matter. I in my opinion, one of the flaws, one of the traps that employees fall into, that any successful entrepreneur has overcome, whether they think about it or not, is that most employees, I think, in my opinion, I've been an employee before, way back, cannot name 5 people they know who have the ability to hire them at their current pay level. They don't know, they can't name them. People only start meeting people who can hire them when they need a job. Okay. And so I think just it has to be part of your regular professional existence to know a handful of people in different companies who can give you a job, because you don't know when you'll need one.
That's good. That can go for music business,
yes.
Can go for real estate. That's a good
one. So many, if you're watching this and you're in a corporate job and you're wondering why so-and-so is always on the committees for this or that, or you're wondering why that other person is on that nonprofit board. And, we all have a lot of ways of doing a lot of things, but people get out and do things where they will be doing them with other people that can add value to their lives. So as far as the pipeline thing is probably the biggest one, because you can't save if you can't earn money consistently. Many people earn good money, but in times like we're facing this year, they will draw down their savings, right? Because their ability to find a job fast enough is severely is weak. They can't find a job. When you say someone, it'll take 6 months to 12 months to find a job, that's a long time. Most people, even if they have savings, that will put a huge dent in your savings if you have to be unemployed for 6 months. Now some jobs are so complex that it takes 12 months before you even find a job and start interviewing and all that. But usually those jobs pay so much that you should already be like have a war chest, and maybe a severance and sign-on bonuses and things like that. But so I think the pipeline is huge. You have to know right now, if God forbid I didn't have any way to make a living, I know who I would call. I know what list of people that I would call, and I would say, here's the situation. I have some capacity. I could take on more work, and I know how that's going to work out just based on history. I know who those people are, So when you talk about pipeline for W-2 employees, resumes, I get resumes for people trying to work for me that are honestly horrible. People have resumes that don't really present them as people that you should hire. And one more thing I'll say on this is that your resume shouldn't just be about saying what you do. It should be so good. I understand you have to have a resume that looks so good, is so well written, is so beautiful to the eye that somebody receives it and cannot help themselves but give it to somebody else. Right. So if I get a resume, I should look at it and go, man, what other CPA do I know who might want to hire someone? Because this candidate is too good to just pass up, right? So I'll put that down. But once you're earning enough money, then you have to save some of it. I think that people need to realize that if you're not saving 20% of your money, if you're not saving about a quarter of what you earn in a year, you will have to work all, 30 or 40 years. It's not a bad thing, but most people just don't know that. They just don't know that, you know. And the average person, when you talk about real estate investors, you talk about like the Kiyosaki world. I don't remember the Kiyosaki world being one where savings is talked about as much. That's more of a Dave Ramsey thing.
Dave Ramsey, yeah.
But the reality is, in my experience, my clients who manage to accumulate a significant positive net worth in, 5 or 10 years or so are saving a quarter to half of their income on a regular basis, which is extreme. It's very extreme. It sounds extreme, but if you're going to graduate college today and you realize that to get rich, essentially, you need to figure out how to save half of your income, I think your first car and your first apartment would be different. And so I think that, everyone should work towards that, living on half of your income target. And there's many in between spots. If you have debt and all, there's many in between spots, but everybody needs to understand that, people who have a lot of money have ridiculously high savings rates. I don't care if it's Jay-Z or Bill Gates. They make $100 million and you'd be amazed they spent 10. Right? Okay. That's just, they have really high savings rates. It's a my thing, it's a vibe. It's a my thing, it's a vibe. Yeah.